hell did this clown come from? I don't know where he came from, but I know where he can come later. Hello, and welcome to Don't Eat the Cashier. This is a horror monster dating sim in which you land a job working at a gas station for monsters and supernatural entities. And as fate would have it, you wind up meeting a mad king jester, a vampire, and an incubus. Will you be able to charm your way into a romantic ending with either one of these hotties? Or will you fail and suffer horribly? Let's get started. Sometimes I really wonder, how did I end up here? Not that I dreamed of a career as a neurosurgeon or an astronaut, but for crying out loud, working at a gas station? On the other hand, money is money. I sent out resumes to every conceivable and inconceivable place, applying for every position where I could somehow use my degree in art. Zero responses. I had to swallow my pride and find at least something. Human organism, wanted for work at gas station. I sure do want to work at a place that refers to me as human organism. Organism's duties include selling food for mouth, silence and obedience. I might not be very good at that. Household tasks, obeying those who are more ancient. Friendly team offers, new and old faces of friends. Long and different life consumption of nourishment. Juicy juices, trips to human places. I found this note stuck to the glass of the bus stop. Food for mouth? Seriously? Guy's got a style of his own. Apparently the manager's just an eccentric dude, or he's a monster, hopefully he's got 2 windworms. Or is this any marketing tactic to grab attention? Whatever, people often told me that I have my quirks too. And that's even if they haven't seen my fursuit. Well, whatever, as long as he's not a complete jerk who hit on me or make me scrub the floors with a tooth. Oh, hey, you single? You come here over? You kinda look like Hermaeus Mora, who was my favorite Daedric prince. And I'm gonna be honest, with that many tentacles, Hermaeus Mora and you can kinda get it. Now the only awkward moment is like when I'm trying to hold them during the bang-a-lang, I accidentally poke one of his many eyeballs. I didn't scream. I couldn't move. My brain feverishly tried to find a category for this in the database. Hallucination? Psychosis? Too many energy drinks. A typical middle manager. The monster from my nightmare stirred. Its tentacles crept closer to the counter. My god, the creature made a sound. Not from a mouth, it had none. The sound emanated from deep within its bulk, hollow, profound, and bone-shaking. You're so cute! His name's Bob! Greetings, organism, I am Bob. The indescribable and terrifying consumer of worlds, but you, grain of sand, may call me Manager Bob. Hi, Moogle. My cat's here. See Manager Bob? Come here. Look at Manager Bob. We nearly called you Bob. No, this isn't real. I'm dreaming, I need to wake up. No, this isn't real. I'm dreaming. I need to wake up. You will sell food for mouths and obey me, for I am ancient. You look so cute. I feel like if I slapped you, you'd wibble like jello. Memorize the rules of this establishment, for my patience is as limited as the salary I offer you. I get a salary? That's pretty neat. Rule number 1, you sell. No matter what. Chicken food for the mouth. Gremlin fuel, noodles made from cursed souls. Noodles made from what now? Lottery tickets for extra limb raffles, discount rot, ritual foil, everything must be sold. He points directly at me with that creepy, slimy tentacle. Every miserable unit of currency brings me closer to my triumphant exit from this pitiful hole. I pinched myself but didn't wake up. Rule number 2, be polite to customers. Ignore bald spots in werewolf fur, and watch out for drafts when ectoplasmic energy entities are in the store. What? But don't let them get too bold. Customers are only walking containers for currency, and they should only pay in monetary units. Payment in existential dread or hair of the dead is not accepted. Many of them come here just to chat because they are idle and purposeless organisms. Your task is to make them part with their currency anyway. It is also your duty to heal organisms if they are injured during their special kits. If they die, they can't give away currency. Excuse me. Okay, I will hold back. Excuse me, dear sir. You seem to have mentioned werewolves and ectoplasm, also known as ghost cum. That's not true, but it's funny to think about it in that way. My voice is as polite as possible. I managed to compress my primal screaming panic into a tight ball and shove it deep down. Or something else deep down. Werewolves? And that's not to mention that you yourself are a giant meatball with tentacles, damn you. I shall answer your question, curious, polite organism. Werewolves and ectoplasmic entities are just a few examples of the many insignificant life forms that frequent this establishment. What unites them is that they're all slaves to consumption, just like your kind. He's not wrong. As for my nature, I am your immediate supervisor and the guarantor of your future financial prosperity. I'm at a gas station for monsters. I got a job with Cthulhu for minimum wage. This is all you need to know. That really is all I need to know. I fear any more knowledge will surely drive me insane. For the first time, something resembling approval flickered across Bob's many-eyed face. A rare and unexpected display of the grains of wisdom that have not yet left the human species. Embrace your ignorance. Let it become your shield and direct a path to the status of Human Employee of the Month. And what does the Human Employee of the Month get? A cash bonus of 25 cents. Oh, yay. I understand that you human are already extremely excited about this, but that's not all. You will also have access to the Elite Manager's Restroom for one full work cycle. Oh, joy. During its use, there is only a 7% chance that you'll be transported to a dimension of endless pain, suffering, and unimaginable torment. Truly generous. He suddenly places a jar in front of me on the counter. And the last, remember organism, this tip container must be filled with money by the end of your wake cycle. If the bottom of the jar is visible, you will clean the sanitary rooms with this object in the dimension of absolute horrors and suffering for 2,510 years. I couldn't take my eyes off the fork, the potential tool of my eternal servitude. At this moment, my mind fully capitulated. Yes, I was hired by a multi-eyed cosmic architect squid. Yes, my clients will be non-humans. Yes, I'm being threatened with a fork and eternal toilet cleaning. And how could anyone clean up anything with a fork? The same will happen if you even think of escaping before the end of your work contract. My ocular sensorium perceives the subtlest of matters. It will detect you in any corner of this pitiful planetary sphere. Crap, I'm stuck here. It's a trap. Do you understand, organism? Yes, sir. Acceptable. Goodbye, organism. Good luck in your currency acquisition and button pressing. Could you show me how exactly do I press the buttons? I point at the sticky buttons on the vending machine. Bob's central eye looks at my finger, then at the machine, then back at my face. The creature sighs. A tentacle extends from his body with torturous slowness. With the drama of a pianist playing the last tragic note, the tip of the tentacle presses down. Click. Bob waits expectantly. Got it. Your capacity for learning is phenomenal. This concludes the briefing. Remain as polite an organism as you are. He didn't turn around as a human would. His tentacle simply shifted his entire mass in another direction with a soft gurgling sound, and he waddled across the linoleum. My man walks like Zoidberg. Finally, he left me alone. The silence at the gas station was broken only by the hum of refrigerators containing juicy juices and the buzzing of the neon lamp above my head. I hope I see a hot monster. I hope he's got a lot of teeth and multiple arms and multiple eyes and like 2 wigwams. I stood in the same spot as if rooted to the ground. My breath returned to me in sharp uneven gasps. My hands were shaking. The tip jar, which I needed to fill to avoid ending up in a dimension of ancient horrors, still stood proudly on the counter. Okay, so what just happened? Option 1, I've gone insane. That's the most logical conclusion. Prolonged stress from job hunting, malnutrition, nerves, anxiety, a disrupted sleep schedule, my brain just malfunctioned. Yes, that's it. I'm gonna wake up on my couch in my dingy rented apartment. I pinched myself again and nothing. I scanned the room once more. It smelled of gasoline and old coffee. It was still absurdly real. And that meant everything he said, it was all true. Werewolves, vampires, tips, the fork. I do like tips, in more ways than one. A hysterical mix of laughter and a scream of terror welled up in my throat. But I held it back. I needed to get through this. I needed to... Oh no. Oh no. Don't tell me that's the first customer. I hope they're hot. Oh no. Bells? What the hell? Oh no. Hi, how you doing? You come here often. Crap. Where the hell did this clown come from? I don't know where he came from, but I know where he can come later. It took great effort not to look away from those red eyes burning in the pitch black darkness. Is he amused? The jingles are like aligned with his emotions. That's so cute. You are so cute. Can we hold hands? Is he amused? Is he wondering if I'm tasty? I wonder if he's tasty. Bob didn't exactly give guarantees that I wouldn't get devoured at work. Does Bob mean like devoured as in like rar or like devoured? You catch my drift? My brain, still recovering from the encounter with Bob, was frantically trying to figure out how to break this ringing silence. You can't just appear with the sound of a creepy piano, sir. My deepest apologies. Hey, how you doing? You come here often. I liked you when you were covered with like the shadow, and I like you now when you're uncovered. I didn't mean to frighten you, my fair lady. You're right. There was far too much drama in the entrance. What would you prefer for my next appearance? Triumphant fanfare and a cheering crowd? Or perhaps just enough accompaniment from the voices in your own head? Tell me. Voices in my own head? I mean, I do have ADHD, so it's kind of popping off in there all day. Will the voices in my head be able to buy this? Thoughtfully look at the nearest counter. Discount rot? Excellent question. The answer is complicated. Reginald, a man with a heart of gold, insists on full price for everything to support the common folk. But Bartholomew, that loudmouth, is a notorious thief. Once he stole a whole watermelon under the guise of a beer belly. And the third one, whose name is too scary to even mention, rather just get drunk like a pig and pass out in the bathroom. And I'm afraid he won't just leave empty bottles behind. How lovely of him to remind me that I'm also supposed to clean up here. I'm dread to imagine what they leave behind. Not just new mental scars, I'm sure. My god. Another crazy person with a strange way of speaking. And it seems like he's in the mood for a chat. That's okay, I can chat with him. So, what is a beautiful lady like you doing in such a dreadful, dirty island of misfortune? Or rather, what is a place like this doing with such a beautiful lady as you? Shut up. Oh, wait. Where are my manners? I suppose I must introduce myself. I have many names, most of which are not fit to be spoken of the company of a lovely lady. The nicest I've heard is the Mad King, a title I plan to pass from me to myself for the coming centuries. I'll show you coming. However, my mortal mother named me Deiran. You're so cute. I want to hold hands so bad. Now, may I have your hand? Oh yeah, of course, take it. Take me. Offer him your hand. Oh, he suddenly bows his head and presses his lips to my knuckles. Meeting you is truly a pleasure. His lips are cold, yet a ghostly warmth spreads across my skin. So here I am, dealing with a real gentleman. How lovely. Or a king, as he calls himself. Of all the kings and emperors locked in their soft chambers, this one has probably found a way to escape. May I know your name? I don't immediately realize he's asking me a question, still in a daze from that gentlemanly kiss. My name is Diana, sir. Oh, I guess we do have a name. My dear Diana, you're so polite. He seems to savor my name. It sends shivers down my spine. Yeah, shivers down my spine and all the way further down, if you know what I mean. And that politeness again, as dry and bland as the rations I give my soldiers. Most creaky of all the decrees I've signed. And I've signed decrees that require people to weave ropes from sand just for fun. Mostly mine. Polite people never risk anything. No friends, no enemies. How is that interesting? Imagine how wonderful it would be if we became enemies. Oh wow, I didn't know he was freaky like that. Those would be the most interesting few seconds of your life. Or friends. Then it would be a delightful eternity. What about more than friends? Or lovers? Wink. Oh, the blush is so cute. He blinks. Once. Twice. What a delightful little twist in our script. Did I just fluster him? I sure hope so. I wonder how far down he blushes. My sunshine. You burned me. Oh, I do like being called my sunshine. That's so cute. Are you single? Such bravery to flirt with someone who can turn your bones into licorice with a snap of his fingers. He's so flustered that he shifted to a more informal tone. Well, I feel like my brain is turning to jelly. Actually, it's not all that bad. Maybe I've just been spoiled by all those mangas about sinister and tragic monsters. Though the only tragic thing about this client so far is his tragic unwillingness to buy my discount rot. So, let's finally get to the purpose of my visit. Finally, it's completely unknown to me. Oh, for crying out loud. There's nothing interesting in the assortment of this pathetic shack. Except for you, so I'm buying your time. You don't have to pay. I'll give it for free. I'm very cheap. I'll have you know, incredibly affordable. I will also bend over for free. Let's have dinner. I'm sure you must be hungry. Oh no. Allow me to create a more pleasant atmosphere for us. This isn't pleasant. This looks bad. It says praise the goat mother on the wall. I'm shivering from a gust of icy wind. He just teleported half of my gas station to a radioactive dump. Or a radioactive dump to my gas station. And the jar is gone. My freaking jar. Looks like my rental apartment, but it seems to smell less now. My dear, I suspected your life hasn't been easy, but was it really that bad? Don't worry, I won't abandon a lady in distress. Just say the word and I'll relocate you to one of these incredibly cozy dwellings. I'm sure the local cockroaches won't mind. And together you can fully enjoy the scent of atomic decay. I think I might die from radiation poisoning before we get to that. However, I can't go long without familiar landscapes. Already ruined lands make me melancholic because of all the fun that happened without me. Disgusting. You can ruin me if it makes you feel better. Allow me. Oh, this is nice, but why does that frog in the back have a human face and boobs? This is something seemingly less radioactive. Amazingly, I haven't thrown up yet. I feel like I've been flushed twice through an interdimensional toilet. I clear my throat. It seems like I'm sitting at a table. Hi. You're so cute. Much better. Wouldn't you agree? Couldn't be better. It's beautiful here and strange. Is this your home? Words of a true poet, Diana. My two favorite categories, strange and beautiful. This place is much more than a home. It's my cage. and my greatest canvas for creativity. Every ugly tree, every mad toad, every eye-bearing mushroom. It's all a piece of me. Marvelous place except when the rocks grow legs and start running, including those that people make their homes out of. And now you're part of this place too. Isn't it wonderful? I'm slowly getting used to the landscape. The fireflies here are quite charming, but it'd be better without that frog with a human face. That's what I'm saying. Wait, hang on, no, I like the frog. The frog notices me too. It lets out a sad croak, then looks at me with an expression of deep existential despair. Deiran, did you turn a human into a frog? Point at the frog with a human face. Who's that? That's Lore, one of the brave souls who dared to challenge my authority. My dear friend who once walked the path of adventure. However, he didn't foresee the possibility of being turned into a frog on a whim. He even tried to wield a sword with his tiny froggy legs. Fought to the end, a true warrior. Now, however, his foes are mosquitoes and bigger frogs. That is terrifying. Can you imagine being trapped like that? Tell me, dear, does he bother you? His little existential froggy crisis, I mean, is it ruining the ambience? He looks at me with an interested expression. No, I want him to watch. Hold on, I don't want to make a decision yet. What exactly did Lore do? What did this walking sucker manure do besides trying to kill me? Oh, plenty. He swung a sword blazing with righteous fury or some nonsense. He dared to come to my home, a world born of my shattered mind, and dictate what the natural order should be. Such an audacious, vile creature. He made such repulsive noises. Clanking and crumbling and shouting and praying, threatening and moralizing. The last part was the hardest to endure, but as it turns out, holiness doesn't prevent frogification or chairification. I found various uses for Lore over the years of our friendship. Oh, the fall of the great Lore. The funniest Tuesday of this century. A Tuesday filled with pomp, irony, and croaking. Alright, I guess I'd also turn someone who tried to kill me into a frog. Exactly, my dear, you see and understand. It's a simple cause and effect. Action and reaction. He who comes to me with a sword shall leave as a frog. That's how it went. Right? Oh, you truly are a kindred spirit. I knew there was a delightful darkness behind those beautiful eyes. He looks at me with an interested expression. Well, he can watch. Watch life passing by. See us enjoy a dinner on more than just mosquitoes and swamp water. My dear, you are a treasure trove of delightfully dark little surprises. So, dinner. I'm sure you must be starving. Traveling between realities must be exhausting. What is that? This looks strange, but it smells delicious. Meat with honey? And next to the meat, a purple soup, possibly made from a less fortunate cashier. Whether the food is poisoned or not, if I refuse, His Highness might turn me into a frog too, so I pick up the fork from the table. And this is the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. It's 100 times better than these cheap instant noodles I usually buy in supermarkets. Even the fact that I'm currently in some other universe, surprisingly, doesn't seem to harm my appetite. It seems you enjoy our cuisine. My chefs have always managed to cook well, on those occasions when I noticed it. I assure you, you won't regret this dinner, at least not for the first half hour after the meal. Wait, what? Am I gonna get diarrhea? Why are you doing all this? The dinner, the teleports, and all that? Why? What a delightfully pointless question even by my standards. I do it because I can. I do it because the alternative is crushing, grey, predictable boredom. Boredom, boredom, boredom. I brought you here because for the first time in a very long time, you are not boring. Oh yay! Can I jingle your bells? Because you fear me less than my subjects do, and you can hold a meaningful, albeit questionable conversation unlike my subjects. Believe me, when your interlocutor's mind is as sturdy as wet paper, all the joy of conversation quickly evaporates. Maybe it's because you keep turning them into animals. That's exactly what I mean, my dear. What an amazingly insightful observation. You are a thorn in my sinful side. However, it's only a punishment for the most audacious ones. A ruler, both god and monster, but no one ever wants to see the other side. I would like to see all sides of you, and that's truly a pity. What if it's as good as the first side? Or conversely terrifying, it would be so exciting to find out. I poke at the food with my fork and watch the peculiar scene from the corner of my eye. A silence hangs between us that might even be called cozy were it under heavy narcotics. What's your favorite animal? Glad you asked. It's right here on our plate. Just kidding. I do need some time to think. Let's see, the riding flea has its own charms. Very disgusting ones. Carnivorous butterflies are beautiful, but they're dumb and noisy. I really As we know, only what's empty inside makes a noise. Oh, what's in my head, it's always ringing. I think it's a dog. It loves its owner with all its heart, whether they're a saint or a serial killer, and doesn't notice a difference. It lives in a constant, joyful state of blissful ignorance and misplaced enthusiasm, a creature that finds endless joy in the utterly meaningless. It's truly inspiring. Dogs are the jesters of the animal world, and I adore them for it, especially the small wrinkly ones. And what about you? Cats. Cats. To them, we're probably the jesters. Oh, indeed, they are the true rulers of this reality. Tiny, furry gods of apathy and disdain, and we are their obedient, foolish caretakers. But I've been lucky enough to escape their tyranny and instead enjoy my own and feed those around me. Well, I do love a man who also likes cats. I mean, you didn't have to sell yourself any more to me than you already have, but now I really like you. I return to my meal, and just as I chew another bite, I hear His Highness's voice. By the way, how does the meat taste? Pretty good, but I would like to taste yours. Is the human flesh tender enough? My fork freezes halfway. Not as tasty as the one I had the day before yesterday. Chew while looking at him in the eye. You're the law here. Was that the wrong answer? I meet his gaze, slowly and with all authority, placing a piece of meat in my mouth and begin to chew without breaking eye contact. I can't remember ever seeing someone so shocked in my life. His mad grin vanishes, his eyes widen, and his own fork freezes halfway to his mouth. For one precious, glorious, sweet moment, the Lord of Chaos is completely and utterly baffled. My dear, you are a true treasure. Yay! You didn't just call my bluff, you raised the stakes to the sky. No, it's certainly not human. It's just venison. As far as I can tell by taste, not very intelligent. It's definitely not Timmy, our carpenter, who unexpectedly disappeared near the large kitchen cauldron perfectly sized to fit in. Definitely not. I personally issued several decrees related to cannibalism, perhaps even concerning its prohibition, but that's beside the point. I rarely have visitors, and I'd like to tell you about other interesting guests. After all, it's the most fascinating thing I can share with you. For a place where mushrooms with eyes grow, it can be incredibly dull here. Shadows in the clearings thicken and stir. They detach from the gnarled trees, rising up from the ground like black ink and spread across the wall. Dancing and intertwining, they prepare to perform at their master's whim. Behold this incredibly crooked castle, my dear, crooked to the point of absurdity, sadly. In reality, its curves look far more aesthetic, but give the creator some leeway for expressiveness. Many brave and not so bright souls have tried to conquer this terrifying, dark, eerie, crooked castle. So many that it became even more crooked. You see the dreadful monster living here. They never liked being distracted from its important duties. Terribly important duties, like having long, deep conversations with its own reflection or concocting recipes of raisins. So far, the scariest thing in the story is the presence of raisins. Yes, you do understand, they're a real horror, aren't they? Tiny, shriveled bits of deception. They pretend to be sweet, but they are just made to ruin. They ruin lovely cookies, ruin family photos. They have no place in civilized society, or how I understand them. The monster was a tyrant, a menace. He sowed chaos and disorder mostly on purpose. He had countless opportunities for creativity and wasn't afraid to use them. It made some people believe they were pigeons and others that they were grains. He wouldn't allow his best servants to have windows, fearing that the moon and the suns would get envious and want to take them away. And he demanded they seal the gaps in the doors as well. He locked wizards who came to him for magical gifts in a giant laboratory and promised them power if they invented a kettle that could boil everything except water. Who won, the pigeons or the grains? My lovely lady, it wasn't a war but rather a true paranoid masterpiece. A ballet of survival. For a glorious week, my ballroom was a stage for a feathered cooing apocalypse. Pigeons flocked into huge proud groups, occupying high places on chandeliers and bookshelves. Grains learned to hide under rugs, pretended to be lifeless, and attack only when the pigeon turned away. There were alliances, betrayal, and a seed that fell in love with the pigeon. Nothing topped this story that year. No, but I'll top you. Nor was anything worse. But I digress. But behold, a ray of light in the dark kingdom. The first hero saw Laura the righteous in all his clanging self-important glory. He took a knee to rest briefly because the weight of his righteousness was bad for the health of his poor back. Following rumors spread by the same monster, he fought his way through the monster's loyal subjects too. By the way, where did he even find them? Most of my subjects are too busy contemplating the color of suspenders for their suspenders or lamenting their fate. I cherish them in their imperfection. I think part of the reason why I like Deiran so much is because he is giving me Sheogorath vibes from the Elder Scrolls. Like, he is giving me like so much Sheogorath energy, particularly reminiscent of like Shivering Isles, Oblivion DLC Sheogorath. Anyways, it doesn't matter. They were probably the most restless of them. Every story needs minions. In any case, our hero descended into the Grotto of Despair. The Grotto of Tentacles. Imagine the most sinister name you can conjure. The Grotto of Kidney Stones. That sounds pretty terrifying. The dreadful, imperfect human body. The worst affliction is having them in your kidneys. What a joy that I can now choose how many I have. I prefer a negative number. But let's not get sidetracked. Into the Grotto of Kidney Stones, our hero descended to retrieve an artifact capable of defeating the Monster King. The Ring of Incredible Power. It is shoddily crafted, but I assure you it looks more aesthetic in real life. However, the brave knight didn't know that the magical incredible power of the ring lay in its 440-pound weight. That was its only magical property. The only incredible thing about this ring was its incredible stupidity and uselessness. The realization that he had spent weeks of his life on a divinely heavy paperweight, and the sudden crushing thought that he should have become a baker instead of a hero just to get some sleep. Well, it broke his poor noble mind. Not that his mind was ever intended for serious burdens. Yes, to Helloyinny knight. A bit of gloating, a touch of delightful reserved cynicism. Oh, splendid. How wonderful that we shared this dish together. So the knight perished, but then along came Elmer Eagle Eye. They say he earned his nickname by escaping from an enemy fortress. On the third day of his captivity, he noticed that his prison cell was lacking the fourth wall. An archer of legendary skill, he tried to kill me with a precise shot, constantly, during breakfast, while bathing at balls during his sleep. And even when I was devising a plan to get rid of him, the audacity. I just hate killing them. Turning them into madmen is much more fun. And I bestowed a little curse upon the elf as well. I made it so that every time he drew his bowstring, he'd hear the most annoying melody to his ears. Cotton Eye Joe? Baby Shark? I hate those songs. The Shinji Ikari pose? Elmer was a terrible racist. Oh, then to hell with him. He hated dwarves. So naturally, the melody became the national anthem while the dwarves played in the loop by a bagpipe orchestra. The pure rage it provoked derailed his aim every time. Eventually, he stormed the castle, dropped his bow, and begged for a job at my court in exchange for changing the song to anything else. He was desperate. And I was a villain. Everything aligned incredibly well. Now he's my royal huntsman. The dwarf march is replaced with a lively elven sea shanty, and let no one dare accuse me of being callous and heartless. Now here's a good salary, good food, clothing and entertainment, and a full guarantee of non-dismemberment. You missed the opportunity to change his dwarf national anthem to dwarf serenades. Where were you before? Horse odes and comparisons to long stalactites. Endless rhymed versions about the shine of a beloved's beard. It's a refined devilish thing. Why didn't I think of it myself? To torment a man not with the sounds of war and patriotism, but with the clumsy, heartfelt caterwauling of a species he despises. Turning a love song into an instrument of pure, heart-wrenching agony. Brilliant. Well, I'll steal your idea for the future. And finally, the witch. In a classic giant hat under which you could easily fit another witch. She tried a different approach. Seduction. She attempted to charm me too, to gain my trust, to become my spouse, a fatal miscalculation. She didn't consider the fact that I'd never trusted big hats. Or people, especially when both come hand in hand. I'll come in your hand. I mean what? And those who wear suspenders and a belt at the time, a person who doesn't even trust their own pants, certainly doesn't earn the trust of His Highness. And then again, I don't trust His Highness either. I don't trust myself, especially the left side of my brain. Especially on Thursdays, but back to hats. I hate big hats too. You're my kindred spirit. Those hats are always so pretentious, so self-assured. They block the view, get stuck in doorways, always hint that the wearer is compensating for something. Usually a lack of magical talent or a pitiful personality. And that's on a good day. You, my dear Diana, have impeccable taste. In headwear and consequently in everything else. It's a scientifically proven fact. Meanwhile, the witch was quite overt in her murderous intentions, jingling with all her concealed weapons. Why does a witch need so many hidden blades? She must have been very bad at witchery. In any case, she now resides in my dungeon. And you see, I haven't decided what to do with her yet. Oh, do you need my help? So I offer you the pen. I simply adore random choices. Give me yours. What punishment befits her? What? Does he really want me to decide what to do with a real person? Can I even save her? And does it matter what I choose? Everything here follows his whims anyway. But as long as I play the circus monkey, I have a chance to get out of here alive. Maybe I should just entertain him. What should I do? Turn her into a hat. A small one. Oh, that is evil. Let's do that. The one who lived by a big hat shall become a small hat. The irony is so absurd, it's beautiful. So be it. Let her be a small cap of eternal regret. She tried to get into my head, and now she can barely cover it. A brilliant sentence. Something's missing from this tale. You never told me about the monster itself. Dear, who cares about these monsters anyway? I do. If monsters are the muck, then I'm the pig, you see? How eloquent. Alright. I must admit, this will be my first performance like this. Deiran sounds a bit bewildered, it seems. Allow me to just toss my mind up and see how it lands. You see, the monster was originally much more modest and less majestic. But we all have to start somewhere, right? Then my head suddenly becomes a bit crowded. First whispers and arguments, then full-fledged discussions that had to be participated in, and involved inanimate objects. Guests in a jar, doors, closets, even in cookie jars. Every container a potential foe. And I was surrounded by containers. To be fair, sometimes they told funny stories. But why was I afflicted with this curse? Pondering it drives me mad even more so. It seems the question is meant for me. Does your family have anything in common with the Habsburgs? My lady, that's so mundane, but that's exactly what happened, you've guessed it. It's all about rotten blood. Too pure, I beg your pardon. My great-grandfather issued a decree forbidding death from old age. And a distant aunt believed a colony of sentient mold was living in her walls, claiming her inheritance. But I always thought I would be spared this fate. I had to be temporarily isolated to avoid embarrassing guests at royal balls, with the young prince pointing at noble lords and saying, "Haha, the gnomes finally got you out from under my bed." That's so funny though. What a misfortune for the entire family. Except those in line for the throne before me. My death would have solved many problems for my family, and indeed many of my own problems too. I made a decision. We made it, to be precise. There was already a whole council of us by then. However, chaos and other plans. A god, a goddess, a cosmic clerical error, I don't know, something ancient and terribly bored found itself a new source of entertainment. It offered me a throne. My own corner of reality to rule, where the fragments of my mind would become the laws of the land. No more restrictions or pants on my subjects if I wish. My subjects at first, they disagreed, but then they came to terms, or their minds changed to fit the new realities. And here I am. A dramatic silence ensues. Perhaps I am the first being to hear this story in the centuries of his existence. I must choose my next words carefully. So you're still in a cage? It must be rather lonely here. No cages. More like a playground with surprisingly silent infants. But I don't blame them, I have the best shovel. It's no wonder I embarrass them so much. Or maybe it's because I love to create explosions. Tell me, have you ever been exploded? Oh no, don't tell me, let it be a surprise. Do you really sympathize with someone who dragged you into his dimension to tell silly stories and feed you purple goo? People never cease to amaze me. Touch his hand. Following a strange impulse, I reach out to his hand resting on the table. His gaze slowly follows my movements, lowering to our hands. His eyes are pretty. This time, no commentary. Instead, his thumb begins to trace patterns on the back of my hand with surprising tenderness. The shadows finally dissolved into nothingness. I just turned a living being into a hat. Or rather, became the catalyst for it. I wonder what kind of nightmares are warranted in such a case. I'm afraid royal duties await me. The time is up. I shall send you back. I rise from the chair, and suddenly I feel impressed against my back. What? One of his hands grips me just above the crook of my elbow, while the other gently rests under my chin, tilting my head back until my ear is just a couple of centimeters from his lips. But don't think for a second that this is goodbye. It was merely an overture. His voice, usually so mocking and calm, now sounds eerily sinister. A cold thumb lightly strokes the line of my jaw, while he can stroke something else. I try to suppress a shiver. You're a very interesting, incredibly curious guest. Possibly the most curious one I've had in centuries. And I found that. I don't want our acquaintance to end here. It's terribly unfair that you've learned a couple of my secrets and revealed so few of yours, isn't it? I can't tell whether he's flirting or threatening. Both, perhaps. Yeah, both is good. A bird trapped in a cage of bills, failures, and endless anxiety. How high could you fly once the cage is opened? Your shift will end, the sun will rise, and you'll want to head home. Perhaps on something more elegant than a bus. Maybe in a carriage of polished bones. We will meet again, very, very soon. And next time, I won't let you go so quickly. Oh, I sure hope not. I squeeze my eyes shut. I'm back! Yay! The light is blinding even with my eyes closed. So unusual. After all this darkness, the jar is full of money. It was all worth it. Yeah, it was worth it, because now I also have like a hot Jester boyfriend. Greetings, organism. How is your work progressing? I see the first transaction was successful, acceptable. This still doesn't save you from the threat of cleaning sanitary facilities, but it's still a wonderful starting point for your entire tiny life. Even more than successful, the client tried to fill the entire station with money, probably due to extreme affection for you, organism. Yay! Unfortunately, the terms of the Intergalactic Treaty do not allow such actions. Tips exceeding the amount set by the Council by approximately whatever that number is were disintegrated to my great regret. What? To my regret as well? My money! So a mad god from another world likes me. In some sense, that's possibly worse than not being liked at all. I see the situation as an absolute win. Work is going well, sir. Excellent. Maintain this level of productivity. You may be rewarded with an additional 5-minute feeding break for you if you can find food. Rejoice in my generosity. Thanks. Continue working. I am experiencing a positive emotional reaction. I am proud of you, and I'll be even prouder if you acquire even more currency. Goodbye, Mr. Manager. Your tentacles shine particularly beautifully at this time of day. Your comment regarding the shine of my appendages is noted, organism. You have a lot of appendages. Do they all suck? The secret is a meticulous regime of polishing them with void bib-okay slime. Goodbye. He slaps across the floor to his office. As soon as Bob's rhythmic wet slaps fade away, a deep silence descends on the station. One moment, I'm in a surreal forest, dining on purple goo with a mad god. A god who liked me so much that he offered me a ride back to his world in a carriage made of bones. The next moment, I'm being praised by a multi-eyed tentacle monster. Maybe these all are just my deathbed hallucinations. I'm going insane. Some part of me enjoys these mad adventures. I'm an adrenaline junkie, disgusting. Now I have to deal with that too. In the midst of my contemplation, terrifying sounds emanate from my boss's office. Unfair bills, unacceptably large numbers. Of course, what else could upset him so much if not that? Steps. Another visitor, I hope he's hot. This one decided to come in through the door for a change. Hello. Oh wait, I think he's bleeding. He seems unwell. I hope he doesn't knock over my shelves of shampoo with jojoba oil and delicate lilies on his way. Hi! You know what? Yeah, I'll take it. He's not just unwell. He looks like hell. Literally, all the skin on the left side is torn off from his jaw to his temple. I swallow nervously. What kind of meat grinder has this guy been through? He looks like someone who could rip me apart if he doesn't like what he hears. I need to be careful if I don't want to become the next victim. Well, it's hard to imagine how the other fighter looks. He lets out a gurgling, raspy laugh. You don't want to know what the other fighter looks like. Honestly, I really don't want to know. My inner archive labeled, I don't want to know this, is at risk of bursting from overflow tonight. Words clearly come to him with great difficulty, which is probably not surprising for a man without half a face. He clears his throat, but that doesn't help much. I need blood. You're hot. I know like half of your face is gone, but you still exude that kind of charm. He tried to smile. It would be charming if he still had all the necessary muscles for that. Now it will haunt me in my nightmares, among other things. The client pauses again briefly to clear his throat. Let me see what we have. Yeah, good choice, babe. Step to the storage. Did you just call me babe? Just in case. He suddenly leans forward, boring into me with his remaining eye. Go and find me some goddamn blood. Oh, go find the damn blood. A strange pressure builds in my head, and the edges of my vision blur. An unyielding command blossoms in the center of my mind. Hey, I was gonna go get it for you anyway. You didn't have to compel me. I don't know why, but I feel an incredibly strong urge to find blood right now. My client is covered in blood but still hungry. Maybe he fought with something inedible. Or is it his own? I found myself in the storeroom. A tangled labyrinth of shelves reaching up to the ceiling stuffed with boxes, crates, and mysterious cans. In the corner, something rustled and snorted suspiciously. So where could the blood be? I need to think fast. He's not gonna wait forever. Right now, I'm at the very beginning of this crazy place. Bob, where's the blood? Go to the food for mouth section. Go to the supplies for self-propelling gearbox. Go to the foaming body washes for leather bags. Go to items that inspire pensiveness. Let's go to food for mouth. These signs are driving me insane. I really hope my manager will eventually learn English properly. I'm surrounded by pure mechanics of anxious packaging, and even in front of the department and entrances, there's some baby food for cyborgs piled up. I'm frantically trying to decipher the crooked inscriptions. In front of me are sections with food for mouth. Food afraid of heat? Infused nutritional flows. Maybe this one. Here are endless shelves of drinks. Next to Coca-Cola are bottles labeled Liquid Regret and Primordial Broth. Cans labeled Rapsy, Vodka, Solnechko. I'd love to meet the person who came up with these names. I check each shelf, pushing aside the cans of essence of shits and giggles, but find nothing resembling blood. Closest thing is liquid hematogen in a giant wooden container, and it smells worse than it looks. I go back. I hear knocking. It's the dry rhythmic tapping of knuckles on the laminated countertop. It's not loud but persistent and full of irritation. In front of me are sections of food for mouth. Dense energy blocks for chewing. The aisle is crammed with chips, pasta, crackers, jerky, and chocolate bars. All the usual stuff if you don't look too closely. Next to the Doritos bag lies a pack of crystallized whales resembling translucent stone lollipops. A can of peas huddled together in fear as I pass by another shelf, nervously glancing around. I quickly scan the shelves. There's no blood here unless you count the dried stain on the nutritional bricks package. I need to go back. Maybe it's about regeneration or something else, but he seems better because I hear impatient footsteps. Great, now he's fidgeting. He can't sit still anymore. This isn't just impatience, it's anxiety. And I really don't like where this anxiety could lead him. I need to hurry. In front of me are sections of food for mouth. Food afraid of heat. In the coldest corner of the store. Large freezer chests and refrigerators with glass doors are covered in frost. Next to the frozen pizza are gremlin cryo capsules. And among the buckets of ice cream you can find flavors like minty tritium and liquid family. Oh my god. A huge freezer chamber. Oh no. Spare parts of human organisms. This section reeks of formaldehyde and horror. Glass jars filled with murky liquids sit on the shelves where exhibits float. I try not to think about one of the containers holding a name tag that reads Kevin. Okay. Oh no, there's different blood. Take blood of human organism Kevin, taste of unfulfilled dreams and unwarranted expectations. Take blood of human organism homeless, a high content of cheap alcohol and tuberculosis. Take blood of human organism Michael, taste of efficient resource and artifact accumulate. Let's do this. The blood in this jar has a rich, almost glowing ruby hue. It looks healthy and full of energy. Michael, whoever you are, you're on top. Champion's blood flowed through you. You're probably something like an energy drink for the undead. And yet here you are in a jar. That's something to ponder. He abruptly lifts his head as I approach. You could have hurried up. He grumbles, but his tone reveals that he feels relief. The search could have taken even longer. Hand over the damn blood. My client finishes the jar and then grimaces. Ah, for crying out loud. What the hell is this crap? He reads a note on the jar. Michael. Well, you were a lucky guy, Michael. But I can't kill him a second time. Tastes like a happy family, a successful career, a retirement account, and this jerk probably never even had cockroaches. At least he's now liquid, Michael, in the jar. He chuckles quietly. Yeah. There's something to that. Cool that you found human blood. Good job. You're sharp. Glad to please you, sir. And glad you no longer want to eat me. With that approach to business, you go far, doll. I'm gonna go wash my dirty face. Don't get bored. When he's not here, I have a perfect opportunity to wipe away the blood stains. I'm just scrubbing a pool of blood on my first day at work. An interesting story for Reddit. A wonderful tale. I'm doing just fine. Nobody has eaten me. Oh my god. Your eye is back. You're very hot. I'm assuming he regenerated from the blood. Oh my god, you're so pretty. You're just my type, aren't you? He's looking so much fresher with the second half of his face, although his expression still resembles that of a constipated owl. I'll just stand here for a while, okay? Take a little break. Besides, there's nobody here with you right now. He's hot as hell. And just so you know what, if you try and contact the werewolves, I'll take your head and crush it like a walnut. I'm David, by the way, a vampire, as you might have already guessed. You're hot. Oh, I love him. I don't know who I like more, the Jester or this guy. Can I have them both? Can I be Eiffel Towered? What an incredibly interesting way to start an acquaintance. Especially that part about the walnut. Nice to meet you. Okay, I knew someone like you once. She used to trade kidneys in Venice Beach. Was a good girl until she got packed up. He's trying to provoke me, deliberately sharing the dirty details of his life to see how uncomfortable I can get. I suppose I'm also selling some kidneys now. Checks the catalogue. Yes, exactly 10 categories. Catalogue? Do you seriously have a catalogue? He leans forward, genuinely intrigued, peering into the catalogue. Gremlin kidneys. Is that a delicacy? Why does it say both delicacy and fuel and animal venom? Because it's a universal product. Want some? I do. Looks like I found my best customer for today. Now I have a vampire here and he's regenerating. Wonderful. The main thing is to not accidentally blurt out something wrong. I need to be friendly. Since when do vampires wear leather jackets? Don't you guys prefer capes and ruffles anymore? Ruffles? What the hell is that? I'm no Ruffles. What even is that? Some French insult? His expression is as if I suggested he wear a maid's outfit. He'll defend that worn leather monstrosity at the cost of his life. That's obvious. Ruffles are not just a piece of clothing. They're a concentrated strike right at the core of his cool vampire persona. I don't wear any ruffles. I was 24 years old. And no ruffles. And how long have you been 24 years old? Very funny. It's been like 24 years. And all these 24 years I haven't worn any ruffles and I'm not going to. Ever. I'm not some damn Prince Louis or whatever. It's painful to watch how people limit themselves and deny themselves simple human happiness. Vampire happiness. David slightly grimaces as he moves his hand. Damn mutts. Probably not all the wounds have healed completely, and does being a vampire doctor fall under my duties? I think Bob said it was mandatory. Let me help. He looks at me skeptically. The offer of help is probably so foreign and unexpected to him that it leaves him momentarily dumbfounded. You what? You wanna play nurse? Look, David, you're so pretty, I'll play you anything. A flicker of confusion is replaced by something more intense. It's just a couple of scratches, and a little piece of ass will grow back on its own. I'm fine. Oh, he got his butt dug out. You mentioned werewolves. It's probably not just a scratch. Let me try to help, okay? I give him a chance to save face. Now we're treating him, not because he's a wimp, but because he survived an epic battle. A direct blow to his ego. The guy immediately starts puffing up with pride, his eyes light up. He's so cute. Hope I didn't catch rabies. You are adorable. Oh, I love you. You're so cute. You're so silly. I decide to remain silent about how he's already pretty rabid. War against one in a narrow alley. Yeah, there's a myth about werewolves being damn noble unlike us bloodsuckers. That's a load of crap. One of them was hiding in a trash can ready to jump out at me. My heart would have definitely stopped dead. If it even beat, it would have just ripped apart from a freaking heart attack. I'm afraid I'll never be able to take out the trash again without fearing for my life. Judging by that distant look, he's plagued by flashbacks of what he's been through. David awkwardly moves his injured arm. Alright, hand over your first aid kit. I'm sure this won't be the last pack I'll have to take down. There are way too many stray dogs around these days. Damn you. Go ahead. Get your band-aids with Dr. Chocula or whatever you're selling. Well, hi. Hello. This is very distracting. I didn't realize that he was, packing all of that. You know, I'm usually a werewolf girly, but this time I might actually go for the vampire. David sheds his jacket, shirt, and t-shirt, then settles onto a squeaky stool next to the counter. He's about to face a serious trial, staying in a vulnerable position for a few minutes. For some reason, cruel fate hasn't made him claw-proof. He certainly looks like he was just thrown into a blender. Judging by those bullet scars, he has quite an interesting past. Or maybe he was attacked by werewolf cowboys with guns. Most likely the former. By the way, I didn't know that corpses are doctors too. I thought the only doctor available to me now is the coroner. I'm rummaging through the necromancy kit that was sitting under the counter. It's a heavy military-style metal box with a faded label saying Kit for Alternatively Living Organisms. Inside, besides standard bandages, there are some strange items: silver tweezers, vials of thick glowing liquid, additional fingers, and of course an instruction manual, a cheap laminated brochure stained with something that looks like coffee. In the instructions, the first point states, determine whether you're dealing with a zombie. Ask your alternatively living subject if they've ever wanted to eat someone's brain. David is clearly not a zombie. Move on to the next point. He glances skeptically at the pictures flashing in the instructions as I flip it over. Zombies, necromancers, abominations made of bones, flesh, and cabbage swirl in front of his face like mesmerizing kaleidoscope. And all of this lives in the city's sewers. I know how you're gonna use bathrooms now. It would be great if he didn't notice that. Why do I have to deal with all this? I steal a glance at my visitor, wondering if werewolves just clawed him up or if he managed to kill someone too. My instincts, something out of the Stone Age, suggests that he could have. The guy has a killer gaze. And you see someone like him in an alley, your hand automatically reaches for your wallet and phone. I lower my eyes. Next point, let's establish the nature of the injuries. What kind of wounds could werewolves leave? It's simple. You got lacerations, claws, teeth, and a bit of saliva. Probably very contagious. David listens to this with the pride of a true soldier. Every word feels like a medal for valor. Something like that. He's so cute. He said it as if he didn't care, but I know better. Look at his ego. Wounds from a real rabid beast, buddy. I'm dying of laughter. He chuckles happily, trying to hide a glimmer of pride behind humor, but I won't be fooled. David is no longer just a wounded sucker. He's a true gladiator, having survived a battle with rabid beasts absolutely epic. I read through what medication I need and grab the regenerating extract for alternatively living life forms. Now all that's left is to apply the stuff. I dip my fingers in the jar and suddenly he grabs my hand. Whoa! Do something wrong and I'll rip your tonsils out through your ass. Hey! You know, you have this fantastic talent for coming up with threats. You should write scripts for action movies. Well, yay, that was the right response. I suppose it's just a matter of experience, probably. And you, well, watch what you're doing or there will be consequences. It seems he just heard the best compliment of his life. I'm gonna let my cat out. I apply this black goo to the wound. A puff of steam rises from the wound, and the air starts to smell like something is frying. It's probably very painful, but David remains calm. Not a single complaint, which is surprising. I hope it's not from your squid manager. Well, we all hope for that, buddy. Pour a little more goo on him, restore some justice. Be more careful. My movements become slow and deliberate. I do everything to cautiously but barely touching the skin around the wound, allowing him to get used to the sting. I can see the tense muscles in his back and shoulders relax slightly. He's still wound up, but the relief is starting to wash over him. Oh, Aww. Naturally, no thank yous or pleases from him. But at least he's no longer threatening to do something to my ass every 5 seconds. Distracted by conversation. You know, David, every noble knight needs someone to tend to his wounds after great battles. What are you talking about? What knight? What battles? I fought in an alley of stinking urine against a bunch of dirty werewolves of territory in the outskirts of this godforsaken city. They tore my pants and I had to take a new pair off a junkie who was lying in a puddle nearby. Where am I? A knight of what? A knight of torn pants? Yeah, you're so cute. Say with the pump of a medieval wizard, you are a wolfhound knight. Oh, go to hell. David says this almost affectionately. It seems I'm making progress in our relationship. I finish up. Surprisingly, the wounds are really healing. The scars won't beautify this man. Why are you doing all this? The question is asked in an astonishingly serious tone. He's driving me crazy. Even more than that clown from earlier, it seems. I just want to help. Lies, you want tips? To go home, play The Sims, and watch stupid shows. I just want to help. Truth. Yeah. Why? David is confused. In his system of beliefs, action always equals benefit. I'm throwing a wrench into his flawless, long-running mechanism. Let's just say I have certain fetishes. Smirk playfully. I knew it from the very beginning, doll. I like when he calls me doll. You clearly have a few screws loose in your head if you get pleasure from this. I wouldn't even bother asking what those fetishes are. I just want to sleep in my coffin without any nightmares. Alright, moving on. Screw this. I honestly don't care what's going on in your head. This is the most unconvincing lie I've ever heard in my life. He clears his throat. Thank you. What? Am I hearing things? I thought he didn't use such words. I'm even afraid to breathe so I don't scare off this rare exotic display of politeness. He says that word as if he's pronouncing it for the first time in his life. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually the case. Just a couple more seconds and he's back in front of the counter. So the client is fed, cleaned, and healed. And yet he's still here, not putting any money on the counter, and the tip jar is lacking. I look at him. He's supposed to be full of energy, but instead he looks lost. David is deep in thought, in that dark, gloomy little place that occupies his mind. Have you decided to eat me after all? Can I do anything else for you, sir? The seemingly simple question stumps him. David frowns and looks past me for a while before responding. Yeah, you can do something. I'm curious about one thing. I haven't talked to a regular human in a long time. I wonder. By regular human, does he mean my extremely natural essence? I'm no vampire, werewolf, or thieving gnome. Or does he mean my lack of criminal record and absence of drug or alcohol dependency? Or maybe he's looking for the perspective of an ordinary worker, a working class person, a grey collar. Does your face always look that funny when you're thinking about something? Hey! What the hell? I thought my face was quite cute. I don't even get a chance to respond to his jab before he follows up. Let's conduct an experiment. Suppose you're now a free vampire, able to go wherever you want, do whatever you want. Where would you go? David looks at me expectantly. And who were you before the bite? What kind of superpowers do vampires have? A whole lot. We're practically a superhero league. I'm sure it never crossed your mind that in reality, bloodsuckers can be way scarier than in sappy movies for girls. It looks like he's watched Twilight. Interesting. Some of us not only drink human blood, but also capture people to experiment on them. They turn human bodies into a real nightmare of flesh and bones. Dr. Moreau couldn't even imagine. And there are vampire sorcerers who can literally rip your soul out of your body and make you work for them for eternity. Literally. Seems like I already have one of those sorcerers. His name is Bob. He's checking his bills. There he is. I wonder what inner strength it took David not to flinch. And there are those who can make your head explode, literally, with just a glance. But not all of us are such wicked bastards. We don't even have to kill a person to eat, just drink a little instead of gorging yourself like a pig at the trough. But some don't care. They just want to drain all the blood and splash it everywhere. The forensics team is baffled why the person turned into a sprinkler before dying. He seems to enjoy talking about how cool vampires are. And which one of these do you have? I've got a decent list of what I can do. I'm not complaining. Tell me! Imagine it. You never get tired, you can party all night long, screw all night long. Okay. Thank you. You want to show me? You're stronger than 10 thugs combined. Well, except for 10 werewolf thugs, that might take some effort. If you're to shrink down and fly somewhere, you can turn into a tiny bat. Your reflexes become 100 times sharper. You feel everything. You see everything. You can hear a rat piss a block away. I don't want to hear what rats are up to. Oh lord, that's just an idiom. You can ignore it if you want. All vampires would go insane if that were true. Do I look like a madman? Politely, I decide to stay silent. He continues. And finally, you can make people do anything you want. Absolutely anything. That explains the compelling at the start. Are you sure the last one is due to your vampirism and not just because they're scared you'll beat them up? David lets out a sharp, raspy laugh. You're right. Most law-abiding citizens avoid me by 100 miles. It's a working strategy in most cases, but sometimes you need a subtle approach, you know? The word subtle from this guy sounds almost comical. It's one thing to scare someone shitless. They give in just to avoid being harmed. It's another when they act with full confidence that's what they want. They don't even realize they're just vampire pawns now. Yes, I think I get it. He pulled that trick on me too. David smiles. But this time the smile is strained. There are the words of someone stuck in a web of artificial connections and arse-related threats. Fear and supernatural compulsion aren't the best foundations for a strong friendship. I can enchant friends for myself? Wonderful. Or make someone give me their wallet. He lets out a quiet chuckle. He's so handsome when he smiles. Oh, not exactly friends, more like underlings. You can hatch all sorts of cunning plans with human politicians or, well, pay no rent. The last part sounds like music to my ears. He seems to enjoy talking about how cool vampires are. Can vampires open beer cans with their minds? Oh, they sure can, but they can't drink beer afterwards. When I was recently turned about 2 years ago, I tried to eat spaghetti. Not the smartest decision. And what happened? I threw it farther than I could see, peeking out blood and meatballs. Left some graffiti and a bit of pasta on the wall. The guy who cleaned up probably thought a whole spaghetti monster exploded in that alley. Mamma mia, no more pasta, pizza, no more delicious food? That's terrible. You got it, exactly. I miss pizza. My buddy used to say you always have to sacrifice something. In our case, it's pizza. It sounds silly, of course, but in reality, it sucks. Still, you get used to it over time. I can see that he's lying. David lives in a spaghetti-less hell. What kind of monster would doom someone to that? You can still order food delivery, by the way, just this time. Eat the delivery guy. He seems to enjoy talking about how cool vampires are. Back to your question. David looks at me expectantly. Did you watch Twilight? I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't watch emo crap. I held a dramatic pause. David looks like a cornered animal. He stares at the floor, then the ceiling, anywhere but at me. Finally, he lets out a loud sigh filled with disappointment and embarrassment. Fine, damn it, alright, I watched everything. All Twilight movies watched The Lost Boys, Interview with the Vampire, Blade. The idiot who bit me didn't explain anything beyond the basics, like, don't go out in the sun, you little punk. I thought maybe these stupid movies had a clue, you know, hidden in all that silly romance and melodrama. Most of it turned out to be bullshit. I read legends. Search for info online, but as you can imagine, all supernatural beings try not to give themselves away. But sometimes you still stumble upon bits and pieces, or crazies, one or the other. My favorite, by the way, was From Dusk Till Dawn. Too bad vampires don't explode in real life. You still haven't told me if you sparkle like Edward Cullen in the sun. He takes a deep, ragged breath. No, we don't sparkle. Wanna know what happens if I step into the sun? We catch fire in the sun. As if someone poured gasoline on me and lit a match. Do you know what that smells like? Like fried chicken. It's a nasty, excruciating final death. Very brutal. Imagine the sun so lick your lips. Hot man. Look at his face. What the hell is wrong with you? David has clearly dealt with violence, drugs, and monsters, but the cashier craving fried vampire is clearly too much for him. You know, I've seen a lot of crap in my life, but this is the first time I've seen something like this. Do you have some kind of necro barbecue fetish? I don't want to know. I'll just pretend I didn't hear anything. What weaknesses will I have? No more turning, no reflection in mirrors. If you're ugly before, it's actually a bonus, right? You can enter without an invitation. Garlic doesn't scare you either. Holy water is trickier, depends on the situation. A steak works, but piercing your chest will be quite the challenge. Piercing any part of you is quite the challenge actually. Our skin is like steel, unless a particular persistent werewolf comes along. Well, at least you can enter without an invitation. No need for unnecessary chit-chat with people. David looks at me expectantly. And who were you before the bite? He opens his mouth ready to tell me off or mention something about butts again, but he stops himself. Probably his thank you sealed our fragile friendship. I'll tell you, but it's probably not relevant. Well, it's nothing. I was nobody. I was just surviving as everything went to hell, unlike all those bastards born with a silver spoon up their ass. You ever see those happy American families in TV commercials? They sit at the table with a bowl of salad, smiling like idiots. They always have a dog. Well, that wasn't my case. My stepdad was a crazy guy who thought the best birthday gift was a smack on the head. He did teach me how to shoot properly, though. I left my family dumb early. It's really dumb, but I thought I'd start a band and become a rock star. As they say, wish in one hand, shit in the other. See which one fills up faster. At first, I worked wherever I could, and then I found some guys to do some shady stuff with. There aren't many ways to make a living in the Los Angeles area. Can't exactly work at the cash register, right? David jabs again, but without malice. The antisocial environment made him resentful of the middle and upper classes, but it hasn't affected me yet. I wonder why. Yeah, being a gangster would be cool. Doing gangster things, riding motorcycles. He lets out a quiet chuckle. Come on. Life isn't as fun as it is in TV shows. Mostly we just sell diluted crap to junkies and solve problems. Sometimes no person, no problem, you know? I prefer the part about motorcycles. And that's it. It's the whole story. What about you? Oh lord, this is my chance to make up something cool or just tell it how it is. I have a single parent family and an art degree and no dog. He listens to how I ended up in this dump, about my job search and everything else. I didn't sell drugs in alleys, but it seems like we have some common ground. Got it. You're not in your element. David truly understands. Neither he nor I wanted to end up where we are. Neither of us knows what to do next. And we both love cheap noodles, but he can't eat them anymore. I win. You must be tired of those draw me requests, huh? I draw you. Oh, like a French girl? Yeah, you want to do it right now? He tries to look nonchalant, but his eyes show that he's interested. Go ahead. I love beautiful doodles. I'm sure you have a beautiful doodle too. He says the word doodle with such strange tenderness. That sounds more like a compliment than an insult. I pick up a pencil, draw him as he is. Oh, he's so pretty. Wow, what a face. I almost forgot what I look like. Bags under my eyes like a junkie. Silence hangs in the air while David examines the drawing. He clearly doesn't know how to react to this unexpected little act of normalcy. Looks cool. The last words are spoken in a barely audible, almost reverent whisper. unlike anything I've ever heard from him before. 2 simple words said with all the sincerity this guy can muster. I can do something too. David takes a pencil from me and with deep concentration, almost sticking out his tongue, scribbles something. Oh wow! A few minutes later, a drawing appears before me. I never thought this guy was capable of that. Wow, it's pretty. David clears his throat, embarrassed. Nothing special, just a doodle. I was into it a bit when I was a kid. Comics and all that stuff, nothing serious. I take the drawing from myself. Alright, where were we? David looks at me expectantly. A lot of things depend on who exactly turned me into a vampire. Who vamped you? He doesn't answer right away, just furrows his brows. Several long minutes pass in silence. Some old stinking jerk. A lot is mixed into those 4 words. It's as if he both hates and mourns the old jerk. Probably. That guy wasn't a contender for Father of the Year. I wait for him to continue, but he remains silent. He looks like an angry cornered dog. It's unlikely he'll speak up on his own. And what did your old stinking jerk do? Don't call him that, damn it, don't you dare. The rage in his eyes shifts to confusion. Just for a brief moment before he looks away. I mean, yeah, call him whatever you want, including an old stinking jerk. Immediately use your privilege, old stinking jerk. An unexpected but genuine laugh escapes his lips, a rough and abrupt sound. We'll come up with something more interesting. Count Chocula. He laughs. Yes, piece of crap, Count Von Count. There's a tone of feverish joy in his voice, as if he's finally indulging in something forbidden and very enjoyable. David remains silent for a few more seconds before speaking. The jerk suffered from power seizures. That's all there is to say about him. No amount of booze could erase what that damn villain did in my memory. I suppose all old vampires are like that. Seems he won't tell me more about his vampire dad. Can you find everyone who wronged you in life and get revenge? Yeah, a lot of people think about that at first. But it's a bad idea to leave a trail of bodies of people you're somehow connected to. And your head quickly fills with other things like, well, the fact that you're dead. And it's forever. So, after you've been turned, you didn't find everyone who bullied you in school and beat them up? I usually beat them up right at school. Ah, right. You might think I was some kind of bully constantly pulling pranks, but I was actually quiet in class. Just messing around at the back of class like an invisible man, until some jerk started picking on me. Once I smashed a globe over a guy's head because he mocked my sneakers. As if wearing clothes from Walmart made me worse than them. Good thing we don't have globes here. Well, I'm ready to tell you my decision. Excellent. He leans in a little closer, when suddenly, uh-oh, we hear a wolf howling. Oh, he turned into a bat! Look at him! He turned into a tiny bat! That's so cute! Listen up, don't say anything about me. Sit tight and behave or you'll feel incredibly shitty. Trust me, if you rat me out to that mutt, I'll find a way to get out and twist your head off. The threat in his voice is completely lacking. Mostly because the voice now comes from a very small, though angry bat. Werewolf. A werewolf is about to come in here now. Oh no! The creature steps inside. Good evening, ma'am. A low rumbling bass, surprisingly calm and friendly. Can I pet you? Ma'am? Not sure I understood you correctly. Look at him frown. Look at David. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm not sure I understood you correctly. You want to pet me? He awkwardly shifts from paw to paw. It's very unexpected and of course flattering, ma'am. Don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of on duty. Chasing, tracking the supernatural. He looks around nervously. Alright, you can, but just a little. I still have important business. He looks jealous. I reach out and pet him. The fur is warm, soft, and thick. I immediately feel a low vibration. The werewolf is quietly, silently purring. At first, it's barely noticeable as a movement. Then his short, fluffy tail starts to wag slowly but confidently from side to side. He's a good boy. A very, very big but good boy. He deserves praise. I'm the Princess Mononoke of this gas station. Although David doesn't seem thrilled, I pull my hand back. Oh, thank you, ma'am. It's been a while since I've been... Anyway, thank you. So getting back to the purpose of my visit. Apologies for the sudden intrusion. Edward, you can just call me Eddie. We're chasing down a certain pest. You haven't seen a vampire around here by any chance, have you? You know, young, a bit scruffy, wearing a leather jacket. You see, here's a story. One of our packs nearly took out a vampire sire and his offspring a few hours ago. It was a tough battle, we suffered losses. We tried to track them and found one of them, well, more like a pile of ash where he once lay. Seeing one bloodsucker off the other when he was weakened. Their family values are quite lacking. Seems patricide as a cut. David didn't tell me anything about it. Probably that's why he had all these questions about vampirism. He was trying to get advice on where to go next after killing his creator, but in a completely idiotic way. You see, man, vampires are like parasites on the body of our society. They drink blood like mosquitoes, but unlike mosquitoes, they kill their victims by draining them dry. They lay in boredom with their immortality and thus destroy human destinies, play with them, torment them, and derive a semblance of pleasure from their suffering. And they are devoid of true feelings. I look at David, devoid of any feelings. He's shaking all over, so I'll be extremely grateful for any help. I don't want to betray David. Don't give David away. The bastard threatened me 5 minutes ago, but now he's small, trembling, and helpless. He's my boss. Yes, he is. I force a smile so I haven't seen anything. A quiet, peaceful night. Eddie examines me closely. He's probably catching a faint scent of blood, but my calm demeanor throws him off. Strange. Well, okay, if he shows up, just give a whistle. We won't far away from here. Good night, ma'am. The werewolf goes off to his important werewolf business. Hello, Moogle. Hello, Moogie. David crawls out of his hiding spot. You could have turned me in. He stares into my eyes as if trying to peer into my soul and understand what it's made of. And that would have been the sensible decision. But I'm glad you're not one of those sensible ones. David says this with genuine relief in his voice. He's grateful to me now, and he doesn't quite know what to do with that gratitude. He clears his throat awkwardly. So what's the answer to my question? What would you do if you're a vampire? His gaze reminds me of a lost fighting dog without its master. He's restless and can't find his place. What an advisor he picked. May the Lord help him. I take everything life has to offer. Travel, entertainment, new experiences. The world is full of wonders, and when you're immortal, all doors are open to you. Oh, now the still waters run deep and all that. Pity the road of adventure that led you to a stinky gas station. Maybe you're right. This world isn't limited to this lousy town. He says this quietly, almost looking to himself, looking out the window at the dark, empty highway. As if he's just remembered. There's something beyond his cage of alleyways and gangland showdowns. Here. For future adventures. David's about to turn around and leave when he suddenly stops. He pulls out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket, scribbles a number on it, and leaves it on the table next to my hand. But just as I reach for it, his hand covers mine, pressing it to the table. His skin feels cold, rough from barely visible scars and blisters. This grave-like chill sharply contrasts with the warmth of my own hand. I feel a slight tingling like a static electricity. Call me if you need a ride from work. I've got a couple ideas of what we could do before dawn. What do you mean? See you. Like, bang? David says goodbye and leaves. The gas station sinks into absolute silence. Well, that was quite an interesting encounter. I really could have turned him in, but I didn't want to. Hang the drawing on the wall. For someone obsessed with arse-related threats, surprisingly, his hands are quite skilled. Now I also have a date invitation from a guy who wanted to make me his dinner half an hour ago. I don't know what's worse. This or the offer to go home in a bone carriage. Though something tells me that if I accept, I might not return home at all. I survived another visitor. It seems I'm starting to get used to this job. Wiping off the sticky residue, hoping it was just spilled soda from the counter, I suddenly hear the crunch of gravel outside. Oops. Why is everyone just hot? What the hell? Oh my god. This is definitely not another vampire. No, but it's still a very welcome sight indeed. What's that bra you wear? The stranger leans against the counter, trying to look casual, but the way his tail twitches betrays his nervous tension. Hi. He clears his throat. Hello, babe. Babe? My name's Viktor. Are your parents pirates by any chance? What are you talking about? You're gorgeous, by the way. Aren't your parents farmers by any chance? I took his awkward attempt at flirting and made it my own. Now I'm the captain of this ship, since I am a true descendant of pirates. Look at him blush. Viktor nervously taps his hoof on the floor. No? Then where did they get such a sweet peach? The blush deepening? His face instantly lights up. So much so that even his ears are smoking, it seems. Thank you. He shuffles his foot. Miss, I actually wanted to give you a compliment. To flirt. Viktor makes vague gestures with his hands as if trying to describe a complex mechanism that just exploded. It was all supposed to go completely differently, miss. You were supposed to blush and giggle and you broke it all, miss. You are so adorable. Oh, I want to make you whimper so bad. So he believes this was really supposed to work on real life people. His face is burning. Viktor takes another deep frantic breath. His stomach is growling so horribly. I hope the guy is okay. Is it really that bad? Are you an incubus? I need to know. I mean, is my flirting technique really that terrible? Awkwardness is a great style. I liked it. This might be the best compliment he's ever heard in his life. Probably the only one. You liked it? His voice mixes surprise, disbelief, and a shy glimmer of joy. I'm glad you like awkwardness because I have plenty of it. You probably noticed. You're so cute. Right off the bat? Is it really written on my face? Actually, I initially chose this tactic to charm you, miss. Of course, everything went according to plan. He coughs shyly and mumbles something to himself. He then shifts his gaze back to me. Actually, miss, I'm here to acquire... Hasn't get to finish. We have a visitor. Oh, hello. She stands next to the counter, clicking her mandibles impatiently. 2 packs of Brapsy and a pack of screaming cheese and a bag of fairy fingers, darling. By the way, your gas attendant is a real sweetheart. It's frightening to imagine what my invisible colleague looks like. He hasn't even bothered to say hello. And hurry up, I need to rush. I have a lot of work waiting for me today. I'm starting to pack the order. At the same time, this incubus awkwardly tries to hit on the lady, and I thought we had something special. Apparently, the failed Casanova decided to try his luck on a new victim. No, you seem so busy and cool, ma'am. You must have a very wonderful job. She starts clicking her mandibles energetically, producing a buzzing sound that vaguely resembles laughter. Wonderful? Oh yes, wonderful. Wonderful for those who don't like to eat, sleep, or see their children grow. Really, the best job in all 9 worlds. Speaking of children, Viktor barely recovers from her sarcasm when the lady immediately pulls a wallet out of her bag and unfolds it, over and over and over again. It seemed endless. This is Gugu. He has his father's mandibles. Viktor gazes into the abyss and the abyss gazes back, revealing baby pictures. The The seduction attempt has failed again. Hey, why are you trying to seduce her? I thought you were seducing me. Like my mother. Lady Mantis loved her children and considered it her sacred duty to tell every passing incubus about them. He is an incubus. This is Gugo. He's in his rebel phase right now. He pierced his mandibles. Can you imagine? He makes such a racket when he eats. The image of a lava in a biker jacket makes me snort and reminds me of David. And this is Gigi and Gaga. They're still larvae, but they're already so talented. What talents can larvae have? They just lie there and eat. I do too though. Wait, don't think about that. You have very beautiful children, ma'am. All 20 of them. Incredibly cute. That's just the first wallet. Help him hand the lady her order. Oh, I got a bit carried away. I really am in a hurry. Here's your money, darling. Viktor watches her disappear into the night, then turns to me with a grateful look. Thank you, miss. I couldn't handle 20 more kids, to be honest. I already broke down at the 8th. And I thought looking after a cat was hard. The lady left very little in tips. Probably all her money went to the children. Viktor suddenly remembers he came here to buy something. How my visitors rarely recall that. I need a book. Viktor scans my stinking supernatural realm of discount rot and chocolate bars. It's a guide for, well, you know, succubi and incubi. He is an yay! I can't remember what it's called, but you definitely heard something about it. Do you have a womb tattoo if you're an incubus? Could you take a look? It's definitely not for me. It's for my less experienced friend. Because I'm, you know, employee of the month in my layer. He didn't specify whether he was the worst or best employee of the month. Or, you know, life force harvesting for dummies or something like that. I hear him mumbling quietly to himself. It's such a shame. I should have stayed at home and rewatched Evangelion for the 10th time. I really like Viktor. He's such a little nerd. I'm heading to the storage room. Just a few hours ago, I was rushing around here looking for blood for a very hungry monster. Now all these vials, eyes, and tentacles seem less ominous. A gigantic dead moth lies on top of one of the boxes. Or perhaps it's just very tired. I'm rummaging through the book section. Deep in between baboon metaphysics and limits of the patience of your dead servants, I find the most desired volume. I come back from the storage room, holding this forbidden mind-bending treatise titled Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Demons and Everything You Didn't Want to Know About Them. Wow, this is definitely better than those PDF guides from various sites for... never mind who. Clearly not for the whole family. Let's study it. Yes, it would be very unusual if you just paid me, tipped me, then moved along. I expect too much from this life. But in fact, this will be an entertaining educational lesson. It certainly won't be necessary. And the guy looks like those pictures are enough to make him faint. The sooner this is over, the sooner I can send him on my way. We find a cozy spot next to the counter. I pull the grimoire closer. Oh no! I open the book and the pages, yellowed and brittle with age, release a cloud of dust and indecent, horrifying desires. That's me in bed, but I'm like into it. Incubi, the nature of the tempting rogue, hooves of desire. Tempting rogues? Oh, that's me. Yeah, definitely me. Hooves are just like mine. You have no idea how awful they clop, especially on tiles. When you sneak to the fridge at night, the whole house wakes up with you. Everyone thinks there's a big clumsy cow living in your apartment. Yeah, I think you really are an incubus. They're all purple. Oh, you're right. All incubi really are purple. I thought my skin color was just some kind of coincidence. You know, when you create a character in a video game and just spin the color wheel until you stumble upon something weird. He gives me a cautious look as if not entirely sure about the coolness of his purple hue. I love the color purple. Too bad I'm not purple. His face immediately brightens with a smile. Yeah, well, I think it's pretty cool too. It's nice to know you like my, what's it called? Demonic phenotype. Viktor turns his attention back to the book and runs a clawed finger down the lines. Incubi, appreciators of the vibrant hues of the soul. They draw power not from blood or life force, but from the pure potent energy of mortal emotions. And although a refined bouquet of positive emotions is the preferred ambrosia, ambrosia, what a fancy word. A practitioner can also sustain themselves with more coarse, fickle energies in the end of negativity. Despair, horror, and humiliation provide a quick, albeit unpleasant, rush of power. It's no wonder that now, after a few arguments with someone in the comments, I feel like I've eaten a few raisins. Judging by the expression on his face, he clearly isn't cut out for horrors and humiliations. His limit is probably arguing on 4chan. Also a kind of source on horrors and humiliations, but still it's a bit different. An incubi can, albeit less effectively, form a symbiotic connection by feeding off a single consenting moral vessel. The mortal vessel in turn can absorb some of the power from the incubus. Among other things, their immortality. Sounds like a decent deal. I certainly always have plenty of emotions, mostly hatred for the fact that you have to earn money, you have to work. A whole mountain of raisins for Viktor or whatever he called it. What a relief, just one person. The thought of having to chase after a whole bunch of strangers makes me feel sick. Oh, you're so cute. Strangers are the scariest thing right after rent. Yeah, totally understand you. It's probably even harder to deal with clients like me. Communication is already a horror show in itself, then you add literal horror with vampires and ghosts, just a nightmare. He really looks at me with sympathy. He feels sorry for me. I didn't even know how to react to that. Trying to understand what people want from you is quite the challenge. And someone has turned off your screen and you're paralyzed basically. Yeah, I completely get you. Viktor flips through the grimoire reading the chapter titles. Techniques of rogue seduction, juicy emotional juices, Using lascivious what? Lascivious energies for thaumaturgical purposes? I don't even want to know. I just want to not starve without energy and maybe pay my rent. I don't need to be the lusty cousin of Doctor Strange. His finger finally jabs in a random chapter title somewhere in the middle. Love letters. It seems completely and irrevocably outdated, especially that part about carrier pigeon colors. Love letters? Who writes love letters anymore? This should apply to text messages now, right? This is a good start. Let's work on this before moving on to more complex seduction methods. He pulls out a pen from somewhere, a cheap ballpoint with a little anime cat charm on the end. I hand him a grease-stained napkin like everything in this rotten place. The book says to convey aching adoration, a hint of forbidden desire. Viktor starts scribbling something on the napkin. Oh my god, maybe something like this. This conveys aching adoration perfectly. Really? You think so? Thanks. Oh, it doesn't, but you're too cute to say no to. I mean, it's obviously a silly picture, but it has a lot of layers of meaning, you know? It's like saying I'm just a humble being unworthy of your gaze when I'm supported only by your crumbs of attention. Viktor continues to flip through the book, recognizing the desires of the vessel. He scans the first few lines of text. It's all about observing subtle hints, interpreting body language, and engaging in candid conversations to uncover the special nature of mortal carnal desires. He glances at me. What does Vessel Diana want? I want a simple human sofa and cuddles on it. Oh great, and pizza, right? In his eyes is genuine sympathy and an understanding of every delicate string on my unfortunate lonely soul. He's so cute. I feel like he's just like a monogamous incubus. Oh, he's adorable. I love him. That's honestly quite a simple desire. I think if the criteria for the second person on the couch weren't too strict, I could easily help. Oh, though sometimes I comment too loudly on what's happening on screen. I hope that's not too much of a problem. Sometimes you just can't help but make a stupid comment. 10, 20 in 5 minutes, especially when you know some facts about the movie. Me with Lord of the Rings, except I have to like bite my tongue so I shut up. We continue to study this villainous seduction manual. The art of verbal seduction and slippery flattery. To his surprise, Viktor finds no mention of the fact that pirate compliments work on living people. We examine the first paragraph, where the words are labeled keys to the treasure chest of the heart, and flattery is described as a powerful aphrodisiac for the ego. It's all very dramatic, but the main idea is quite simple. Say nice things, don't say unpleasant things. This is definitely outdated. If I tell someone that his eyes are double gateways to the Champs-Élysées, I'll definitely get sprayed with pepper. And this, good lord, when I kiss you I tremble like a paralyzed beggar? How is that even supposed to work? No, that's too much even for me. Viktor clears his throat, his gaze sliding over me, trying to latch onto something particularly attractive about my appearance. You have a very elegant ear shape. Thank you. No, you. Do I? Thank you. They're very nimble now. But there's no instruction for when someone compliments you back. Probably don't blush, and that's something I didn't manage. He takes a deep breath, gathering his courage for another compliment. For a while, he tries to find some foothold to latch onto, but he can't seem to find the words. You're a very multifaceted person. You combine so much. I don't know how to exactly describe it. He lets out a quiet chuckle. But I like that you're so unpredictable. A lot of stress, of course, but it's incredibly fun. Now my unpredictability is a source of stress for someone else. How wonderful. That wasn't bad. He smiles gently in response. Despite everything, he starts to relax. He's probably beginning to feel more comfortable around me. I would never thought a monster would have to struggle with discomfort from interacting with a mortal soul, and not the other way around. Another chapter. Anatomy and mirror. I didn't know we could change. Oh, it's metaphorical. The text describes the principle of mirroring, subtly borrowing mannerisms, speech patterns, and even expressed opinions of the victim to create a sense of closeness and understanding. The path of least resistance to gaining mortal attachment. Oh no. What about all the stuff about just be yourself and everything will work out? My mom lied to me, didn't she? With similar interests? Oh, what do ordinary people like? Football and the weather? Definitely not anime and Dark Souls. I like anime and Dark Souls. Discussing the brilliant soundtrack of Silent Hill people is a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I like doing that. Right, practice. The book says practice is the key to success. Viktor lifts his gaze to me. Play along with me, please. Just like we just met. Beautiful mortal soul. I have appeared to you in half dreams so many times that I finally decide to find you in reality. I won't let you go so easily again. Even though the words aren't the most elegant, there's something supernatural about them. I still begin to feel a pull. Come on, you don't have to pretend to get close to someone to make friends. I'd love to talk about the Silent Hill soundtrack. Viktor's carefully crafted seductive expression shatters into pieces. Oh, he's so adorable. His eyes widen. He blinks several times, and his gaze ignites with pure delight. You really want to talk about Akira Yamaoka's industrial soundscapes and how they create an all-encompassing sense of psychological horror that reflects the protagonist's inner turmoil? Because I mean, the use of trip-hop elements in Silent Hill 3's soundtrack is criminally underrated. Criminally. Oh, I mean, yes, Malta, your interest in such esoteric melodies is quite intriguing. You're such a nerd. Just be yourself. You're adorable. He chuckles softly. But you're right. Pretending is very exhausting. You can never truly be close to someone if you're always pretending. No, I don't really need to do that, do I? I just need juicy, sweet emotions. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm the most pathetic incubus in the world. I need more than just that. He's slipping through the treatise a bit longer before letting out a sigh. His stomach growls again. It seems like he could use an emotional snack. I think we've covered up all the important stuff. I suppose it's time to wrap things up. He starts to rise from the floor. Wait, how did it happen that no one explained anything to you? Even I had a briefing. A 2-minute one. I'll tell you, but promise you won't laugh? I promise. Relief washes over his face. Yeah, wonderful. I accidentally sold my soul on the dark net. Oh, you silly Bob. He holds a dramatic pause. Go on. What an idiot I was. Dropped out of college back then because of the constant stress, moved into a tiny dump and barely left my apartment. I was scraping by with some freelance work. Sometimes I chatted with various anonymous folks from 4chan. People without names, gender, or age. And then I stumbled upon a stupid ad. What did I have to lose? Definitely not a demon 7566 in the chat offered me a chance to escape loneliness. Later, after I turned into this creature, he told me he did it for laughs. He left no instructions, just wrote "get good" in the chat and deleted all contacts. He was curious to see if I could handle it. His chance to escape loneliness turned out to be putting me in an incredibly deadly situation. He lifted his eyes to me. The memory is still a fresh wound for him. Before I can even respond, he jumps up from the floor. But I've already wasted enough of your time. He clops his way to the counter. To be honest, I didn't really understand much. Those chapters are so strange. He lets out a quiet chuckle. But you know what? That was great. I haven't had this much fun in a while. I think I even ate properly, finally. Positive energy, I mean. Thanks for the lunch. I'm not sure if I need to pay for that too, but I'll leave some money just in case. His tail twitches awkwardly. I haven't really interacted with people since college killed my will to live. It felt strange not to feel like such an idiot around someone. Thank you very much. You're so cute. Like, I genuinely don't know who's my favorite because they all have such unique personalities and they're all so well written. He tosses some money into the jar and takes a deep breath and adds, maybe we could, hang out together. Not as a lesson, just play some silly games like friends. Why not as friends? We could make it a date. A date? His tail starts wagging wildly, knocking over 3 bags of chips, a can of soda, and a bottle of gloomy D. I'm in, of course. I'm ready. He struggles to rein in the flow of enthusiasm and takes in a frantic breath. See you then. Goodbye. Bye. Good luck with your shift. It was nice to meet you. The gas station returned to silence, broken only by the hum of refrigerators and my own 2 loud thoughts. So a crazy god, a vampire thug, and a shy incubus walk into a gas station. Sounds like the start of a really bad joke. My life is now a joke. Great, I just want to pay my bills. I didn't sign up for interdimensional quarrels and therapy sessions with the undead. But on the other hand, I wasn't eaten. And I wasn't turned into a piece of furniture. By the standards of this night, that's a resounding success. I cautiously glanced at the door to Bob's office. There was a low guttural humming, like a giant, disgruntled computer tower was working inside. The clock on the wall indicated it was the end of my shift. With a heavy sigh of relief, I began closing up the place. Finally, I walked to the front door, inserted the key into the lock and was about to turn it when suddenly... Organism. I jumped in place, nearly dropping everything. Your performance has exceeded all my algorithmic predictions by 47.3%. You're not just an organism. You're an efficient, flawless machine for generating currency. I am feeling an emotion your kind describes as managerial pride. If you keep up the good work, the possibility of receiving a 25-cent bonus will become not just hypothetical but quite real. Go, organism. Restore your energy resources in return for further exploitation. What a relief. He vanished as suddenly as he had appeared, leaving nothing but a ringing silence behind. I stood for a few seconds, processing what I'd heard. Then I slowly turned the key in the lock. Click. First shift completed. I survived. And now I can do anything I want, which means... Ooh, who do I want? Alright, let's do all these in order, because I'm assuming these are all their good endings. Shout carriage for the queen. The words escaped my lips before I could even think them through. I shouted into the void, expecting at best an echo, but the void answered. From around the corner, with quiet clatters of hooves on asphalt, it appeared. A carriage crafted from bones polished to a shine, drawn by a pair of horses woven from pure shadow. The carriage door swung open by itself, inviting me inside. How mysterious. I stepped over the threshold and the world spun into a kaleidoscope of mad colors and sentient frogs. When the whirlwind subsided, I felt myself falling. But instead of a hard landing, I found myself in someone's embrace. Oh my god. Oh, he's so pretty. Holy crap. I did not see him without the hat. Oh, I'm so smitten. All of them are so hot. I knew you would come, my dear. And come I will in more ways than one. Deiran's voice was velvety and sly. I looked down and realized that my old t-shirt and jeans had been replaced by a beautiful gown. How old-fashioned of him. The kingdom missed you so much. Every crooked spire of this castle longed for your silhouette. Every mad courtier whispered your name, hoping you would return and bring even more chaos to our usual chaos. He looked into my eyes. His gaze was a mix of madness, adoration, and the promise of the most unpredictable eternity. Everything. I will give you everything. How about a pet? I can bring you the most beautiful griffin, or better yet, two, so they won't be bored when I take you for rides around our lands. You can take me for a ride right now if you know what I mean. If one moon bores you, we'll have three. Or I could get a few garden gnomes and I'm getting ahead of myself, let it be a surprise. He's so smitten with us, he's actually so sweet. He pulls me closer by the waist. His lips almost touch the shell of my ear as he speaks the next words. You'll never be sad again. From this moment, sadness for you is just a word in a foreign language, my dear, my queen. And all it took was one night shift at the gas station. Yay! I'm now his queen. That's so cute. Okay, well, let's do David. Like, you know, do David as in the choice and also do David, if you know what I mean. Maybe it was a bad idea. Or maybe it was my best one yet. The creature on the other end informs me in a raspy voice that he'll be here in 10 minutes. And sure enough, soon the roar of a motorcycle shatters the silence of the night. A battered but powerful bike pulls up next to me. Come on, move your ass, sunrise is soon. Aww, that's so cute. God, the art style is gorgeous. I love how they draw the faces. His voice sounds gentle. I move my ass and climb into the seat behind him, wrapping my arms around his waist, and he lets out a satisfied sigh. And by the way, enjoy today's sunrise while you can. I freeze. I know exactly what he means. This could be my last sunrise as a human. We're gonna bang-a-lang. Say nothing. Hug him tighter. I say nothing, just snuggle closer to him, burying my face in his leather jacket. Screw it. Let him do what he wants. He'll give me eternity without spaghetti. And unlike Bella Swan, I won't have to wait 4 whole movies for it. Whatever awaits us, eternal wanderings, arguments over who cleans the blood off the dishes today, and the necessity of pretending to be our own descendants, will face it together. The motorcycle roars to life and heads out onto the highway. Let's go back here though. What happens if we pick the other option for David? Maybe I want to become a vampire, or maybe not. Either way, we're making decisions together now. He slightly turns his head. The surprise in his eyes is replaced by a brief glimmer of respect. He looks at me like a tamed wolf, like an equal. His hand covers mine, resting on his chest, and gently squeezes it. Okay, boss. Whatever you say. Whatever awaits us, eternal wanderings. Arguments over who cleans the blood of the dishes today, and the necessity of pretending to be our own descendants. We'll face it together. That was cute. I like how he's like, respects your choice. And call Viktor. Viktor promises to come faster than the wind. True to his word, when his car pulls up into the parking lot, he nearly knocks over a trash bin. My bad. It's an old, well-maintained car, clearly inherited from his grandfather. Inside it's warm and smells nice. His apartment is exactly as I imagined. A bit cluttered, but cozy. Oh, this is so good. Oh my god, I'd be so into Viktor. The other two are like really hot and great, and I think like David's appearance is probably the usual type I might go for. But Viktor's personality is so cute, plus he looks very pretty. And soon I get humiliated by the very first boss. Viktor, sitting next to me, laughs. It's not that you're bad at this, as you say, it's just I'm a nerd with a whole lot of free time. His fingers glide effortlessly over the buttons. They can glide effortlessly over my buttons. I felt at ease. For the first time in a long time. No fear, no tension, just two people playing video games. Hey, rest my head on his shoulder. He freezes for a second, then a blush appears on his violet cheeks. He coughs awkwardly but doesn't pull away. Instead, he gently leans his head towards mine. You made me so happy in just one evening, and I'll do everything I can to make you happy. I close my eyes, listening to the quiet clicking of the buttons. An Incubus boyfriend. My boyfriend is an Incubus, and he's better at Souls-like games than I am. For now, something very interesting is definitely happening with my life. Oh, I love him. What about the sun? Lean back and watch him play. A friend. I now have an Incubus friend. The thought was so ridiculous yet wonderful that I couldn't help but smile. Viktor, noticing this, smiled too. You know, I'm so happy I'm not completely alone anymore. Of course not alone. Now he has me and my insane, infernally monstrous screams I make every time I fail to dodge in a video game. Something very interesting is definitely happening with my life. That was cute. I like that there was a platonic option. Alright, well, return to the store to Bob. A romantic evening awaits you. Oh no, Mr. Manager, we're not saying goodbye just yet. I head back to the gas station and push open the door to his office. Is Bob lying naked on the bed? In the middle of the room, buried under folders and invoices, stood a gigantic, ridiculous canopy bed. And on it, surrounded by rose petals, reclined Bob. Or rather, he wasn't just lying there, he was posing. One tentacle coyly supported his spherical body where a human's chin should be. Others were elegantly draped over the silk sheets. His numerous eyes blinked slowly, focusing on me. Ah, organism, I wasn't expecting you so soon. His voice has always boomed in my head, but now it had sultry undertones. But since you're here... One tentacle slowly, seductively beckoned me forward. I propose we spend the evening in romantic entanglement. We'll study void, bib, OK, and closure schemes. I took a step into the office and slowly closed the door behind me. Is this a HR violation? Well, back here. Now that we finished Bob's ending, that was such a nice touch. Let's just go home. No, I had enough adventures in one day. The bus arrived surprisingly quickly. I climbed into the half-empty cabin and collapsed onto a seat by the window. Outside, the waking city rolled by. Ordinary people headed to ordinary jobs. None of them selling discount rot or fending off vampires. My pigsty retreat never felt so homely and cozy. The familiar creak of floorboards and the smell of dust and cheap coffee all seemed heaven-sent. I didn't even bother with dinner, just shrugged off my clothes and fell into my bed. Soft, familiar, free of tentacles and ectoplasm. No monsters, no threats. Just silence and pleasant nightmarish dreams. Well, that's 5 out of 9 endings. I'm gonna try and get the other ones, but I'm pretty sure the other ones are bad ones and I feel bad. Alright, okay, I am currently hunting around for the other endings. Go through, pick all the bad choices, and we have a completely empty tip jar. I felt so bad when picking the bad choices. I felt like a butthole. Anyway, so this is after Viktor just left. And he was so consumed by the weight of his existence that he forgot to leave me a tip. Wonderful. Well, at least he didn't try and suck all the blood out of me or turn me into a cash register. The gas station returned to silence, broken only by the hum of refrigerators and my own too loud thoughts. So a crazy god, a vampire thug, and a shy incubus walk into the gas station. Sounds like the start of a really bad joke. My life is now a joke. Just great. I just want to pay my bills. I didn't sign up for interdimensional quarrels and therapy sessions with the undead. On the other hand, I wasn't eaten, and I wasn't turned into a piece of furniture. By the standards of this night, that's a resounding success. I cautiously glanced at the door to Bob's office. There's a low guttural humming, like a giant, disgruntled computer tower working inside. The clock on the wall indicated it was the end of my shift. With a heavy sigh of relief, I began closing up the place. Finally, I turned to the front door, inserted the key into the lock, and was about to turn it when suddenly... Organism. I jumped in place, nearly dropping everything. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. You failed. The bottom of the jar is gazing into the void. The contract included consequences. Consequences are upon you. I didn't even have time to scream. The world twists into a vortex of purple and black flashes. I open my eyes and see it. The most disgusting, most unearthly toilet in the entire multiverse. That looks horrible. It was made of something that looked like pulsating, warty stone and emitted a quiet, mournful slushing. A thick rainbow-colored liquid dripped from the tank. There was something in my hand. I glanced down. A fork. The ancient instrument of my eternal drudgery. I looked at the fork, then at the toilet. Then back at the fork. Well, at least all the prongs are intact. Damn it! Okay, so for this one, I picked all of Deiran's bad options. So let's see what happens. I refuse to decide her fate. How incredibly disappointing. You're offered a blank canvas of another's existence, a chance to paint a masterpiece of suffering or comedy of errors. And you choose not to pick up the brush. You chose dullness and boredom. Well, if that's your quiet harbor, my dear, so be it. I'll decide what to do with the witch myself. I suppose that's the end of the tale. Indeed, it was a delightful story. I have hundreds more, of course, but these were the first that came to hand. The shadows finally dissolved into nothingness. What happened to that witch anyway? Did I harm her by doing nothing? Alright, to hell with it. I should be worrying about myself first right now. I'm afraid royal duties await me. Our time is up. I shall send you back. I rise from the chair. Deiran yawns. What an astonishingly dull way to spend our time, don't you think? But no worries. I've thought of a way to make your journey home a tad more entertaining. His gaze makes me wary. He snaps his fingers with a sound like a quiet clap of thunder. The word flips. A wave of dizziness overtakes me, and I fall forward, hitting the ground with a dull thud. Everything around me suddenly seems unimaginably large. My hands are gone, replaced by, well, I don't want to look. I feel a ridiculous pointy hat on my head and a long white beard that definitely wasn't there a moment ago. Much better. I thought that little fellow from your reality could use some company. I was too boring for him, and he turned me into a damn garden gnome. Worry not, my little gnome. I'll send you back to your gas station. Your boss will hardly notice a swap. He might even appreciate your newfound diligence. After all, there's less chance of you annoying the next customer. My mind screams. Not a sound escapes my new gnome lips. This is going to be a very long shift. Well, rip me. This time, I'm gonna mess around. Instead of getting the blood immediately, I'm gonna delay it because he was getting really annoyed at the start. Bob, where's the blood? For a moment, silence hangs, broken only by the hum of distant refrigerators. Then comes the sound of pure cosmic irritation. In your blood vessels, organism. If you mean blood for sale, then check the mouth food section. Don't disturb me, I'm busy doing business. Right now, I'm at the very beginning of this crazy place. Go to the section items that inspire pensiveness. Next to the issues of Cosmopolitan and National Geographic lie adrenochrome from doves, tabloids named Global Conspiracy that turned out to be true, and a tome of Necronomicon for the whole family. On the floor, I find a gothic novel about a forbidden love with a vampire bearing an incredibly dramatic title, Shout. So, would you like to read the novel Night Sucker? Am I stuttering? When did I ask for a damn book? Blood! I need blood! His anger at me seems to reach such heights that he gains the strength to shout. Perhaps hatred is the best medicine. I hear knocking. It's the dry rhythmic tapping of knuckles on the laminated countertop. It's not loud, but it's persistent and full of irritation. Right now I'm at the very beginning of this crazy place. Go to the supplies of self-propelling gearbox. The aisle is dirty. A metallic labyrinth of tires, batteries, and containers filled with strange liquids. A pyramid of oil cans labeled the best from Azathoth teeters in the middle. On the shelves there are more cans, this time for engines running on souls of sinners. The air smells of rust and burnt rubber. There's definitely no blood here. Do you need a tire for a Jeep, sir? Yes, bring it here so I can stuff it up your ass. I probably don't need a tire up my ass. I probably won't need to drive probably won't be able to drive anywhere with it. I need to keep searching. Maybe it's about regeneration or something else, but he seems better because I hear impatient footsteps. Great, now he's fidgeting. He can't sit still anymore. This isn't just impatience, it's anxiety. And I really don't like where this anxiety could lead him. I need to hurry. Go to the section for foaming body washes with leather bags. This is the personal hygiene section. Deodorant, shower gels, and entire jars of glowing radioactive liquid. There's no blood here. Take the soap just in case. Yeah. Remembering that ancient cracked soap sends a shiver down my spine. I take a clean soap. Let this be my olive branch or the monster. Hygiene is the foundation of any happy human society. Not a sound. Where did he go? Did he die? There was no sound of a fall. And he didn't leave. I would have heard the footsteps. Where did my client go? I really don't like any of this. Go to the food for mouth section. Infused nutritional flows. Here are endless shelves of drinks next to Coca-Cola are bottles labeled Liquid Regret and Primordial Broth. Cans labeled Brapsy and Vodka Solnechko. I'd love to meet the person who came up with these names. I check each shelf, pushing aside cans of Essence of Shits and Giggles, but find nothing resembling blood. The closest thing is a liquid hematogen in a giant wood container. Smells worse than it looks. I go back. The silence becomes oppressive. I still don't hear my client, but I have a feeling that something is watching me from the darkness. Anxiety sends chill down my spine like rats with icy claws. In front of me are sections with food for mouth. Intense energy blocks for chewing. The aisle is crammed with chips, pasta, and crackers and jerky and chocolate bars. All the usual stuff if you don't look too closely. Next to the Dorito bags lies a pack of crystallized whales resembling translucent stone lollipops. Cans of peas huddle together in fear as I pass by another shelf nervously glancing around. I quickly scan the shelves. There's no blood here unless you count the dried stain on the nutritional bricks package. I need to go back. It wasn't a sound, it was a sensation. A sun gust of wind, a fleeting shadow darting across the shiny surface of a bottle of jojoba shampoo. I start to turn around, but it's too late. I'm suddenly spun around and shoved into the shelf. Oh no, but also hi. Wood painfully hits my back and plastic bottles come crashing down from the shelves with a deafening clang and clatter. The eyes of this monster, stripped of any hint of humanity that once resided in them, now burn with nothing but hunger. You smell like mom's spaghetti. A double searing jab that sends a convulsion through my entire body. The sound of the store, the hum of the lights, the dripping water somewhere in the storeroom. The gremlins playing backgammon drown in this deafening crimson noise. My legs buckle, but he holds me tightly at the waist. A giant bag of discount necromancer crab goes tumbling down from the shelf. The last thing I see in this mortal realm is a giant cuttlefish in a jar labeled as backup accountant. The surreal absurd headstone is the last thing I see before the roar in my ears fades and the world plunges into darkness. Well, there we have it. That's what happens when we piss him off too much. Okay, so I was gonna show David's other options, but then I forgot and I remembered just as I was editing this. So I'm just gonna play through the scene real quick for you guys. Apologies for no camera. I am in my pajamas. Grab David and hand him over to the werewolf and let the wolf leave a tip. I feel so bad. Look at his little face. I grab his small bony body. A thin, desperate squeak echoes. Well, look at that. He was hiding, the rascal. Ma'am, I'm at a loss for words. He takes David from me. Weakened from previous battles, he can no longer resist. From seemingly nowhere, the werewolf produces a tip. Here, this is for your trouble. And for your civic-mindedness. I sold a vampire for $30. I'm a business shark. I feel so bad. The werewolf politely nods and disappears into the night. The gas station sinks into absolute silence. So I survived another visitor. I feel bad. I feel so bad. Luckily, in my canonical playthrough, I didn't sell David. Well, let's quickly pop back here and blackmail David. Slowly glance at the tip jar and briefly meet David's eyes, hinting that he owes a tip. Look at his face. The bat nervously swallows and slowly nods his head. He fully understands my threat. I force a smile and say I haven't seen anything. A quiet, peaceful night. Eddie examines me closely. He's probably catching a faint scent of blood, but my calm demeanor throws him off. Ugh, strange. Well, if he shows up, just give a whistle. We won't far away from here. Good night, ma'am. The werewolf goes off to his important wolf business. David crawls out of his hiding spot. He throws a few bills into the jar. Here's your damn money. Choke on it. He leaves without saying goodbye. I can't tell if he's mad because the mortal swindled him like a sucker, or because I saw him at a moment of weakness. Will his fragile ego survive this blow? Maybe I'll find out. Either way, there's one less vampire at the gas station. Another satisfied customer. I feel kind of bad for that one too. I think the best ending is definitely not giving him up because then he gives you his number and you guys can get together at the end of it. And that is all the endings of Don't Eat a Cashier. I adored this. This was so much fun. I loved the art direction so much. Like the color palette, like with the muted greens and grays and blues and purples, suited this incredibly well. And like even like the backgrounds and everything just like framed the set really nicely. Even the UI, like this like gas station picture with like the slight noise filter is like, the noise filter is like one of my favorite looks, so it makes me really happy whenever I get to see stuff like this. I love the humor immensely. Despite it not being like a massive game, there was still like little sprinklings of lore that you could like picture what the universe is kind of like. And I really loved how the humor didn't feel forced. It was written in so naturally, and you could tell that this was like a dark comedy horror romance game, which is one of my favorite genres, honestly. And I feel like the humor was done incredibly well here. Also, massive props to how the characters were written as well. All of the characters, including the side characters, were so incredibly distinct and well done. And I haven't even like spoken about the character design and the art yet, but like Bob was so funny and hilarious. You could tell like he acted like that because he's like a massive primordial entity. And I think how he spoke captured it really well. Deiran's attitude was immaculate. Like, I love the vibes that he was giving off. It was very, like I said that earlier in the playthrough, it was very Sheogorath, which is one of my favorite characters in the Elder Scrolls series. Like, this idea of being that is so powerful, not necessarily a bad person, but not necessarily good either, just has so much power and is, you know, for a lack of better words, insane. I thought that was portrayed so well. And also, he is gorgeous. I did not expect him to look like that without the hood. I thought he was so freaking pretty. I was so happy. And David was written so well. You could tell that he wraps a lot of pain in like this almost like tough guy bravado type of facade. But underneath it all, he's like, you know, lonely and unsure and just really wants someone to be there for him. But it's like such a foreign concept to him. So it like explains a bit of the aggression and the standoffishness and the rudeness at the start. I thought it was very well done. I love like how the more you spoke to him, you very slowly unraveled his backstory. Like you got little hints of what had happened to him, and also what he went through in the process of turning into a vampire and learning things over the years. And yeah, it was brilliantly done. I'm a big fan of like subverting expectations. Having an Incubus that was like shy and just like a massive nerd is something that I never thought that I would see, but I loved it. Viktor was so sweet and so unsure and so not suited to be an Incubus because he was just a poor dude that accidentally sold his soul on the internet, which is a lot sadder of a story given that he was then left to fend for himself. But he's like, he was so innocent and he just really wanted to be like, you know, monogamous with someone. Even at the end when you do the romantic ending with him as opposed to the platonic one, he's like so happy just to have you as like his girlfriend, and he's like dedicated to making you happy. I think he's so incredibly sweet. It's definitely not like a character that I expected to see, but I'm so glad that the trope was subverted, because like he tries to flirt with you and then he gets immediately flustered, and I think that is the cutest thing ever. I haven't even like talked about their individual designs. It's absolutely gorgeous. The art style is so pretty. It reminds me of like almost like a comic book style, which I really like. I love the black work and the shading. I love the like color palette. Like everything was just so succinct and so nice. The designs are immaculate. Like David's design suited his personality so much, like the slick back hair, the kind of like roguish vibe. I thought that was like gorgeously done. When he like smiled, you could see the hints of his fangs. It's so pretty. And Deiran's design, so hot. I'm a fan of Jesters. I like my fair share of Jesters, but like even without the hat, when he almost like looked like this like regal vampire, interview with the vampire kind of guy, oh, I was like, ooh, I was not ready for that. And then Viktor's so cute. His appearance is quite stereotypically slutty, but his personality was anything but, which just makes him so endearing. But I love the black scleras, I love the horns, the hair, just like how gorgeous his like purpley color palette was. All of these characters, even including like Bob, the mantis lady, and the werewolf, was so well designed. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the werewolf, the mantis lady, despite me having such short sections, they were characterized so well. You could tell the personality just from the first couple of sentences. Incredible work. I love this. There were so many branching choices as well. Like I played through the main route, got all the good endings, went back and found the rest of the endings. But if you choose all the different choices, there is so much dialogue to uncover and so much to see. And I highly recommend downloading this game and taking the time to just go through it and play it and do several playthroughs of it and experience everything that the writer has put into this and has to offer, because the humor just extends to all of the choices. It's so good. Like, I can imagine the coding must have been like so intricate to allow for all of these options and to lead to like all these different endings. It was amazing. Like, absolute 10 out of 10 for me. Character design was great. Narrative was great. Writing for the characters, impeccable. Even just like the replayability of this is so good. Overall, this is so good. I was so happy playing this, and I hope you guys will be happy too if you guys give this a chance. I have put the link down in the description box below. But thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. If you did, tell me which one is your favorite love interest in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear it. I thought I would go for David, but I'll be honest, they're genuinely pretty evenly matched. I like all of them. They're just so distinct enough to like settle in my heart. But thank you very, very much. If you guys did like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next part. And also, if you'd like to support the channel monetarily, feel free to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description box below. Subscribing will give you access to exclusive content, but it's absolutely not mandatory. But thank you so much again, and until the next fictional man or monster, take care.